I'm joined by Colleen Nelson, my colleague, a fellow Kansan, and you know, we saw a really remarkable speech tonight by President Obama. I thought long, but remarkable. Remarkable in the sense that it really was an attempt to tie up his 8 years and open the door to the next 4 years. But that door really has to be opened more by Hillary Clinton herself tomorrow night. So I guess the question is, what does she do with this speech? I did a video earlier today, and I said there are three things she could do. She could make people try to like her more, and she needs to do that.
Right.
She can try to make them hate Donald Trump more. We saw some of that tonight. Or she could try to say, I'm the one who's a serious person with policy plans and proposals, because she is a wonk.
Right.
Which, I mean, to some extent, obviously, she'll do all three.
Right.
You ever thought about where the emphasis is likely to be?
I mean, I think that she and her campaign have made a decision this week to make an affirmative case for her, and not just to make Donald Trump the bully or to demonize him. And so I think we're going to see a lot of her emphasizing her judgment and trying to make herself seem likable. I mean, there's been a full-throated effort this whole week to just kind of create a three-dimensional Hillary Clinton, and but she has a tough task ahead of her, and she herself has said that she speaks in prose, not poetry. Tomorrow night is a time when she's going to need to rise to the occasion and deliver some poetry. And it was interesting today, her campaign manager, Robbie Mook, told us repeatedly that she's a workhorse and not a show horse.
Yeah, it's known as lowering expectations,
exactly.
I believe. Yeah.
So that did not exactly set a high bar for her, but a little bit problematically for her, Obama did set a high bar for her. I mean, that is a tough act to follow, so she's fortunate that they're not the same night.
Well, both Obamas, really. I mean, just in terms of the tradecraft of delivering a political speech, Michelle Obama showed how you do it.
Right.
Barack Obama showed how you do it. To some extent, I think Elizabeth Warren did as well. It's a tough act to follow, and as you say, I think the vibes from the Clinton camp suggest we're not expecting her to hit those kind of notes. I think she'll give a different kind of speech, and one that's designed, I suspect, to say I'm serious, and implicitly and explicitly Donald Trump's not.
That's exactly right. And I mean, she will go after him to some degree. I mean, she can't help herself, and he's an easy target. And I mean, he's stealing some headlines today by having a news conference and daring the Russians to hack into her emails. And so while they may not respond to him tit for tat, I mean, they're not going to leave him completely unchallenged by any stretch.
That's a good point, because when this Trump story hit today, you and I were both around here all day, obviously, and Democrats were sort of outraged and agog that he would say such a thing, but also frustrated, you could tell, that, you know, he knows how to steal the headlines whenever he wants. He goes out and does something that manages to make him the subject of attention.
That's exactly right. And last week you saw, with the whole controversy about his wife Melania's speech and the plagiarism, he said explicitly any publicity is good publicity, and he absolutely believes that. And so he really doesn't care that he's getting bad publicity today. He really doesn't care that the Clinton campaign is talking about espionage and how outrageous it is for a potential president to be encouraging another foreign power to hack into Secretary of State's email. He just likes that he's in the headlines, and so far that has served him reasonably well.
You know, when it comes to Mrs. Clinton, you know, you've been out with her on the campaign trail, and this is a question that every nominee faces the night they're going to make their big speech. Can you capture the room? If you can capture the room, maybe you can capture the TV audience. Has she done that at all in this campaign? Have there been occasions which she's pulled that off or not?
I think that she pulled that off. She definitely pulled that off when she gave her first big address about Donald Trump and foreign policy, when she spoke in San Diego, and she had the room in the palm of her hand, and people were cheering and chortling, and I mean, it was kind of a roast in a weird way, but she had the room at that point, and it hasn't happened often. It did happen that time. It wasn't about her. She wasn't making herself seem likable. It was just a full-on assault on Donald Trump. Her campaign would say they think she accomplished that a couple weeks ago, the day that she was supposed to campaign with Joe Biden. They canceled because of the shooting in Dallas, and she spoke at a church conference in Philadelphia, and she talked about the shootings in Dallas. She talked about the shootings of unarmed black men by police. And it was a good speech. And I think the people in the room responded well to it. I'm not sure it played as well everywhere else.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought when she did the San Diego speech, and it appeared that she let down her guard and said, this is what I really think of Donald Trump.
Right.
It was an unguarded half an hour in Hillary Clinton's life, and I thought, I suspect we'll see some of that tomorrow night. I suspect her advisors hope we'll see some of that tomorrow night. We'll be here to watch. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it, Colleen.
Absolutely.